Hi, everybody. Welcome to The New Normal. I'm your host, Lisa Davis, aka Like Queen Lisa. And today I'm super excited to bring to you a patriot, a great American that is fighting in the fight for you, for us, for his family, and for our freedoms, most of all. And Robert Beatles, you guys know him from Monarch, great supporter of our channel and a lot of our friends. He also has been working just tirelessly behind the scenes. To get this thing right. And we all know what that thing was that happened in 2020. So we're going to be kind of talking in code a little bit, dancing around about shenanigans and such. But I also want to ask him about some other things. So give us a like, share this video for freedom and sovereignty, and we'll be right back right after this. Welcome to the show, Robert Beatles. Great to have you.
Hey, it's great to be here. Great to see you, Lisa. How you been?
Very good, very good. Busy and excited to find, opportunities of hope to move forward. I love, what you're doing with Operation Sunlight. We watched it kind of transition through this experience we've been going through. I don't even know what to call it, this awakening. I am seeing more and more people over time kind of coming to us and, telling me or my husband, oh, all this stuff you were talking about years ago, it's finally happening, or coming around on some different things, whether it's, the choices that we make on those pieces of paper, maybe have been messed with, or, things that they want to put in our bodies, those kinds of things. So it's really interesting to watch it happen. My husband and I were watching Trump Saturday night that he spoke. And I felt like it was a shift in attitude, or like a change where he had been a little more passive, or not that would ever be a word to describe that man, but a little more subdued in the last few interviews or rallies, speeches that he had done, like especially over New Year's Eve and stuff. He was very reserved or held back. But this one, he really went all out. A lot of the things that he said are the things that he has been saying, and to restate. And I know some of that may be because more and more people are waking up, and this may be the first time they've heard some of those stories that, we are all like, yes, we know Russia was a hoax, and it's been proven now. We know, all these things. But it's the first time where he said, although previously he said, he's not here to save you, and we need to save ourselves. And I think that's what you're doing with Operation Sunlight, giving everybody some tangible things that they can do in their community. But he did kind of turn that corner and push and say it was time. He said, in DC, there's just trash everywhere, and I just had to do it myself. And maybe he was trying to inspire others, when you see the trash in your community, to get involved and take the trash out yourself. Curious what your thoughts are on that.
Well, there's a lot there. I didn't catch Trump's speech. Sorry, I missed that. I look at things more along the lines of, God and us, right? I don't look to a man. I kind of look to, to God and to we the people to set things straight. The more you educate yourself, the more you look into things, you'll see how the things that have been telling you maybe internally that there's something wrong, you get the validation that it is just by doing your own research. And whether it was in cryptocurrency or whether it's in, our rights and liberties, you'll find that you need to do your own research and not just listen to, people, even Trump or any of these other people out there. You really need to look into things for yourself, because what we find is people just blindly go into propaganda, believing it. or they hear, like Goebbels said, if you say a lie, long enough, loud enough, people believe it, it
That's
becomes
true.
truth. We keep seeing that, and people are saying things that aren't even true, that they don't even know that what they're saying isn't true. And so it's, kind of a whole rabbit hole on just on that. But people need to wake up to what's going on, because we're being lied to by essentially everybody, by our servants, by the media, and it's really up to all of us to educate ourselves and try to help our friends and family in our own backyards. And so with Operation Sunlight, it's something that we started back, I believe, in around 2018, 2019, somewhere around there, where we literally just try to get people in their own backyards to get involved and to take back their backyards, which takes back their city, which takes back the county, the state, the federal government.
Mm-hmm.
And a good friend of mine is Dan.social. He has the precinct strategy. And so we built out the software platform for him and for all the precinct committeemen across the United States to be able to organize and strategize and do that very thing. And with Sunlight, it's more than just getting people into the central committee. It's about getting involved in politics at a local level. It's about having your voice heard. It's about accountability to people and making sure that your neighbors are aware of what's going on, because there is, power in numbers, right? And we know that the more we learn the truth, the less these people can really, deceive us. And so it makes a big difference getting people involved in your own counties and cities, your own backyard, so to speak. Like through Sunlight, we've had like 1 million people over the past 4 years, sign up for it. And it's been incredible. And we're exposing things all the time. Right now, I've been really focused on Nevada, and in a certain part of California. And so California, you'll see that for all the people out there that say there's no such thing as election fraud, well, then how come they just found it? How come people just got arrested? How come there's actually some justice coming? And in Nevada, if there's no election, fraud and things like that, well, then how come nobody's, taken my $80,000 of rewards to prove us wrong? And all 50 PhDs that have tried, whether it's from the big mainstream fake media and all their PhDs, they've all found that we're right. They may not cover it, or, they may try to bury it or hide it or just go back to name calling, but it's there. It's been proven. It's true. We have some serious issues and the people know it. So this kind of gives people a way to get together and talk about things and organize and strategize and work on peacefully taking things back. And it's great to see, some of the fam here in the chat. I haven't been doing much streaming, or as you know, I've been taking off pretty much all social media. So it's great to see some of them here. We see, I saw Stan and I saw Shahid and I see Tom and a whole bunch of guys. Owens, what's going on? So great to see everybody. Charlie, what's up? It's been a minute since I've seen some of these names, but it's always great to see them. And you.
Yeah. Well, great to see you too. And I know that you're, working tirelessly, and you've been censored, obviously. You did build Pilled for everyone. Did that get censored as well? Because I was having a little bit of trouble on it, and then I tried to get back on. It looks like I have an account, but it doesn't look like there's much activity on there. What's the update on Pilled?
I guess it depends on. I'm a part owner of Pilled, a part owner of Gab.
Okay.
They're both of those are off of all Big Brother type software, media, servers, all that type of stuff. It's all organic, right? Everything is on our own servers. There's no big tech hooked up to any of that stuff. And so I'm not sure what you did, but no, we get millions of people there every single month on all of those sites.
I did something wrong. Yeah, I did something wrong. I'll have to call Shahid or somebody to help me. Maybe Methods can help me or something.
Is it for streaming or for what?
Yeah, my streaming stopped working on through my software.
Oh, well, that's you're using StreamYard, and so StreamYard, you're going to get a key, and you have to make sure that key gets put into the streaming software on Pilled, and then it'll stream flawlessly, just like YouTube.
It might have.
You've got an expired key.
Oh, okay. So I didn't realize they expire. Okay. Well, that would be why then. There you go. Problem solved. Saving the world there. So I want to play devil's advocate just a little bit in the hopes of finding a solution or having conversation around sovereignty. I know you're doing all this work to try to get people involved with our voting system, our election system. And I do believe that as a community, we need to be involved. If you're going to have, we all affect each other's outcome, and we need to put energy in where we live, and be a part of that, be a part of the solution, and moving forward. But I've had some education. Like I said, I've been reading some books and learning about some of our history, and you're a great historian as well. And when I heard about what I understand happened at the Civil War and around some of the pieces of how our Constitution may have been damaged, or the words magic that they use, how in the 14th Amendment, people think that was to free the slaves. And I've been told, in fact, that's to enslave all of us and into civil law and take us out of our sovereign standing. And so I'm wondering, like, is this even a system that we want to still engage with? Should we not just, there's the theory of like burn it all down, whoops, that must have been a great idea. Maybe, I don't know. Or do we rebuild something, completely new from the ground up? Like, can this be fixed? Can this be salvaged? I guess.
Okay. Well, there's nothing wrong with our Constitution. The problem with it is people don't follow it. So our so-called servants, they want to say that it's an old, outdated piece of, parchment paper, hemp paper, whatever, and it doesn't really work in today's world, right? That's crap. If they literally followed it, we wouldn't be seeing the issues that we have. So yes, after the Civil War, there was a lot of people. They claim that our Congress was, they didn't even adjourn properly after the first Congress after the Civil War. And so there's a bunch of, people that say things there. But at the end of the day, there's nothing wrong with our Constitution other than it's not being properly used and enforced. And so there's nothing to burn down. There's things to expose, right? So you need to show that, we have this contract between our servants that work for us, and they're not doing their job. And people need to become, again, educated. They need due diligence. They need to look into what all this actually means. A lot of people just think that they have these unalienable rights, but it's not even unalienable. It's unalienable. People don't even understand diction. They don't even understand. Yeah, I mean, it's unalienable. Your rights can't be leaned, right? So there's so much, we could go down this rabbit hole for forever. But at the end of the day, there's nothing wrong with our Constitution. The problem is the people and the servants. The servants are going to, as we know, with power corrupts, and absolute power corrupts absolutely. And the people are used to, unfortunately, just doing whatever their so-called superiors say, when really we're supposed to be the superiors. We're supposed to be, the owners, right? Of our rights. We're supposed to be the kings, so to speak. Do you really think that? My great uncle's Ben Franklin, right? And one of my great grandpas is Captain John Beatles, right? Of the Revolutionary War. And we go way back, right? Do you really think that we left Europe, came all the way over here to get away from all the oppression and the boots on our throat and the taxes and everything, just to then create something that does the same thing to our people? Of course not. It's just these servants have gone crazy, and they think that they're the kings, and they think that we're the serfs. So it's up to the people to reclaim their status. It's up to the people to understand their rights, not their privileges that these servants can take away at a whim. So all this boils down to education. Unfortunately, our school system, it doesn't teach any of this stuff anymore. It doesn't even teach cursive anymore, to where people could actually understand and read our founding documents. Right? I mean, I'm
sure that's on purpose. Yeah, they say that history can be forgotten within 3 generations. And I think part of that is this trend of, well, they're all keyboarding, and they didn't even care if they just wrote in all capital letters, but they got them completely out of writing cursive. And like you said, because then you can't read the founding documents, then they're ignorant to, or what handwritten letters between our founding fathers, any of that.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at Nelson Aldrich Rockefeller, he said, give me 10 years and he'll reshape, the country, the world. Well, he did it in 8. He did that at running our education system. He stripped away everything that people really need to know and put in this Marxist, Leninist, communist type education system that's only gotten worse from there. And so our kids and the people that are going through the schools, if you ask them simple questions, they don't even know. Like if you ask them, if you go 60 miles per hour for 1 hour, how many miles do you go? They have no idea. It's insanity. If you ask them how many states are in the United States, you ask them what territories are, they have no clue. You ask them what the First Amendment is, they have no clue. This is all by design to dumb people down to essentially roll over and take whatever it is that these so-called servants decide to dish out to us. So that's why it always just boils back down to education, claiming your status, and then also, of course, cleaning up your backyard. Because if we're able to do that, then we're able to take it all back. So that's what we have to do. And until we do that, we're just really just wasting our time, just listening to what influencer or pundit says what that really doesn't matter, because it's like putting duct tape over a bullet hole until you fix the wound, until you take the bullet out, until you clean it up, and then patch it, then stitch it, then put a bandage over it. It's not going to do it. It's still going to go septic, right? So we have a lot of work to do, but there's a lot of great people out there that are awake, that are doing their parts to help take it back globally, not just in our country. And some of our team, I can't be proud. I couldn't be more proud of them. They're just incredible people, within our counties. And then of course, most of the names you probably know or have seen on certain alternative media, but they're just incredible people doing incredible things. And that's what we need to clean this up and take it back.
It's awesome. So we know that you're in cryptocurrency or involved in cryptocurrency, and created Monarch. We promote your wallets when we go to our meetups and in our Crypto 101 classes, and that's been a great tool for us. My son has his Monarch wallet that he gets his Litecoin in, which I know you're not exactly always happy about, but it's okay. It's a great tool, and we use it a lot for teaching. But how do you see the CBDCs and the money going hand in hand with this education? Do you feel like the impending financial system crash, that a lot of people think that the financial system is going to crash very quickly, will that help expedite this needed education for our rights?
Well, I mean, they needed to crash so they can implement all of these central bank controlled currencies. They need that to happen. Just like in 2008, they come in, they bail everybody out, they create all these laws, these regulations, these new institutions, these new agencies, all that stuff to save us from that happening again when they were the ones that actually did it to us. The Great Depression, all these types of things, it's always caused by the central banks themselves. And now we're going to give them total power and control over a currency, which leads things into like social credit scores, to where if you're not, playing by their rules, you say something they don't like, they freeze your funds, they can take them back, they can see where you spend your money, how much money you have, all those types of things. Currency, not money. If you look at things that I've said all the way back from 2011, I've said that cryptocurrency is the greatest freedom for the people or the greatest enslaver of the people. Only time's going to tell. So we really need things that are decentralized to actually live up to Satoshi's original vision back in Halloween of 2008. When you look at where we're at now with cryptocurrency, everything's just gone centralized, and people keep losing their asses because all these things, they go out of business, they run off with the money, and it's the complete opposite of what cryptocurrency was intended to be, which was something decentralized to where you hold the keys, you hold your crypto, you are the king or the monarch, the queen of your funds. Mm-hmm. We keep seeing everything go more and more centralized. So with centralized control, you're going to be at basically their mercy, and they can control you however they want. So it's not a matter of if, it's just a matter of when. It's coming. We all know it is. If you go to Asia, you'll see everybody uses their smartphones over there. You see that they're already conditioned to be using digital currencies, whether they're crypto or Alipay, WePay, whatever. They're already using that stuff. So they're already down that road, and they've already implemented portions of that social credit score. And if they speak out against their government, they're not able to travel, they're not able to work, they're not able to spend money and buy things at the store. I mean, it's insanity. And this is Orwell's 1984 revealed, and this is what will happen in the United States with all these central banks controlling the currency absolutely through a digital means. And so So there needs to be resistance. There needs to be pushback. There needs to be a decentralized method to where people can still enter into commerce in case, for whatever reason, Uncle Sam doesn't like them today, right? So that's one of the reasons why Monarch, it doesn't matter what cryptocurrency you use, it's decentralized. If I get hit by a bus, if the team gets hit by a bus, it doesn't matter. It lives on in perpetuity as long as the blockchains do. It's Richard Hart, a buddy of mine, he said that cryptocurrency wallets are like keychains. That's very true. They literally are just the keys to your crypto, and depending on the wallet is the encryption level and how easy it is to have that hacked. With Monarch, thank God, over since its inception, I think around 2018 or something, we've had 100% uptime and zero hacks because we don't ever touch anyone's cryptocurrency. And so with Monarch Pay is kind of like a decentralized ecosystem of being able to use all these various cryptocurrencies for decentralized reoccurring payments, which are great for people like on Patreon and all these other subscription type services or food services or whatever. But it's all completely decentralized. It's free. We don't charge anything. It's just out there running on blockchains. And so we need more and more of that type of stuff versus always looking to, the government, to keep us safe when the government's always the one that's inflicting the damage to us.
Yeah, definitely. Because right now there's there was a big article about Visa and trying to get people to actually basically give your keys, but use the centralized service with crypto because of recurring payments, things like that. So I didn't realize you can do that through the decentralized option on Monarch. That's great news.
That's on Monarch Pay. Yeah, we actually have the
patent. Okay.
We have the issued patent where we essentially reverse engineered how smart contracts and blockchains work to where you don't need to have the coin itself and an underlying token to pay the gas fees. Everything is taken out of the coin itself or the token itself, and it's done decentralized. So you can use it for one-time payments or you can use it for reoccurring payments. The new version of it comes out, I believe, at the end of this month, and I brought on a new CEO, Davis. He's great. He's kind of up on what's going on in the world. So he's got a good mind for all this type of stuff. And, Jordan Belfort's a close friend of mine, and he's, come onto Monarch, and he was all anti, cryptocurrency until, we actually talked through it. And so he's no longer, or he hasn't been anti-crypto for a while. And the team is incredible. David Zembeck, the creator of the smart contract, not Vitalik Buterin, like everybody likes to give credit to. He did it, but he did it after David Zembeck, just like Roger Ver and, the Eric Lee, the co-founder of LinkedIn, having all these incredible people being able to tap this entire time. And, it's incredible for the people. And again, it's not something we're charging for, it's something you just use.
Yeah.
You become the queen or the king, your monarch of your money. Yeah.
Absolutely. Oh, that's really exciting. I love hearing about that. Well, so ultimately, where do you see America going? Or how quickly do you see it going? Will we go to, I'm watching, I have a friend in Nigeria. Well, his family's in Nigeria. He's here. And he's sending me videos of the Nigerian banks, refusing to give people their money. I think now the latest thing was he called the other day and said that you don't get the right information on the news. So we have to be the news. We have to talk to our friends and family around the world and find out what's really happening. And he said that the Nigerian government they took everybody's money or had them turn it in and then told them it wasn't worth anything. And now says that it can be worth something, but they've already turned it in and it's already gone. So now they're all just like, rioting, stealing from each other. There's some cryptocurrency going on, but it wasn't really very strong in Nigeria. So there's a lot of violence in the streets. Do you think that we'll go through a time of violence before the money can be settled?
Well, let's be clear. There hasn't been money since 32, 33, something like that. Oh. So everything that you're talking about is pretty much already happened in America, and most Americans have no clue that it happened. They're like, "What?" They didn't
even get mad about it.
Yeah, okay. They're like, they have no idea. Like if you look at Like if you look at these guys right here, right? These are everybody thinks, oh, these are bennies, right? Well, I mean, it says right at the top. What does that say? Federal
Reserve note. Yes.
It's not money. That's a note. So back in the 30s, FDR confiscated all of our gold and took the backing away from our money, turning it into a fiat. And they further did that in 72 when they took the rest of the silver that was behind it. So they confiscated the gold of the people, gave them 40 cents on the dollar. They took all the gold that was backing the dollar away from it. They came out with this thing called the New Deal, which literally stripped all of us of most of our rights. And people didn't even know it. And today they're just starting to kind of figure some of this stuff out. And again, in the 70s, they took the silver away. So we literally have nothing but paper that is right here. And people don't realize that the only reason why it's supposedly worth something is because we, the people, believe in it and think so. But this dollar, this $100 bill, in 2008, if you look at the paper, in 2008, only 3% of the paper was actually in existence to all the money, right, tender notes that they said is out there. So if they say there's $1 trillion, only 3% of that's in paper money, 97% digitized. And that was in 2008. So it's only gotten worse and worse since then, right? So we're probably like 1% paper to 99% digital currency. So we're already to these places where you're asking if we're going, and there's nothing behind this. And if people actually understood how this works, this costs 9/10 of 1 penny to make. That's it. Costs 9/10 of a penny to make. This $100 bill right here, this $100 of Federal Reserve notes, is billed to the Treasury for $100 plus a 10% surcharge. So this costs the Treasury $110, which is then billed to we the people that have to pay the $110 plus interest in perpetuity. So the interest is, some say, about $1 trillion and a half dollars a year now. But what they don't understand is there's nothing private about the private Federal Reserve, or sorry, there's nothing federal about the Federal Reserve. It's a private corporation, and there is no reserve. There is no money behind it. We're paying this $110 in interest to a bunch of families. They're a private corporation. They're shareholders. This isn't even real money. People don't even understand they've been duped with notes instead of dollars. They don't understand they're paying all this stuff back to families, not to the government. They don't understand the interest goes to these families. And they don't understand that each one of these things become worth less and less and less. If you had one, right? I have $100. Let's just say this is $100, not 100 notes. Simple math. Let's do two. Just make it simple, right? You have one, I have one, right? Here's 100, here's 100. Then the Federal Reserve, which isn't federal and has no reserves, prints two more. What happened to your $100? You just lost 50% of the value.
Yeah.
Right. We both just got devalued by 50%. But all of this came out of thin air.
Right.
None of it's real. It's fugazi, like they say in Wolf of Wall Street, right?
Yes. Yes.
It's all printed by a bunch of families. People don't even understand that basic concept. They don't understand that. And a lot of people say, Beatles, you're crazy. It's like everything I just said is 100% true. Yeah. And they don't even understand the fundamentals of tender currency, what they think is money, when it's really just federal notes that aren't federal, they're private.
So with those federal notes, a lot of them backed by the Treasury, the bonds that used to be bought by other countries when our military was strong and was protecting the oil, it was a petrodollar or whatever. With the formation of BRICS and Saudi Arabia making deals with China for the recent oil trade, do you see that making the US dollars coming back even more quickly?
Because they're using the petrodollar, that was what was giving this note a lot of backing.
Some people say that is strong because of the petrodollar, and then I've had other people push back and say, well, it's only strong because our military is strong. And I see what's happening with Ukraine and a lot of funding that they're creating, or wherever it's coming from, is going over there. And supposedly a lot of our military equipment is going over there as well. And some people are saying that our military is becoming woke and weak because of that. So that would lessen the strength, I would think, of that dollar as well. And then all of these countries kind of opting out of that SWIFT system that we've, that the petrodollar is king of, and going to the BRICS system, which is more backed by, gold and their country's assets and all of that.
Right. Well, so with the Federal Reserve notes, they're literally the reserve currency of the world, where they were. People are now requesting gold. People are now requesting other currencies rather than the dollar, right? So that is going to harm us, not hurt us. When you have Russia that is requiring to be paid in their currency, no longer in dollars, that is going to hurt us. All of these things that they're doing is designed to hurt us. You literally have, I mean, if you want to make it simple, just think of it as two warring families. You have a family that, pretty much wants America to stay the superpower in some way. And then you got another side that wants America to fall and become part of this globe of one government. Okay. So kind of think of it that way. So you got, there's pushback and resistance. Neither one of them are really for we the people, but they're both for themselves, if that makes sense. This currency is going to continue to become worth less and less and less because the belief in it is becoming less and less and less. Our military is becoming weak. What they've done is treason to our military. They're sexualizing everything. They're turning guys into girls and girls into guys. And if you look at the way that they're treating these people, you got to get jabbed, just to do anything, to even be on the team, so to speak, any of that kind of stuff. This isn't what makes a country strong. It's what makes it weak. They're diluting it on purpose. When you see Biden leaving, hundreds of billions of dollars worth of equipment in foreign lands that don't like America, that's not helping us. When you have these people sending, hundreds of billions, God only knows how many, to places like Ukraine to act as like, I don't know, some type of enabler for them against Russia, it puts us in a very precarious place because now America is interfering between, these two countries that we have no business being in. And that's going to end up bringing us into a huge war that unlike anybody's ever seen before if this continues. And when you look at this money that's going to Ukraine, you'll see that, over there in the District of Criminals in DC, you'll see that most of these people have family members in Ukraine. So for every $100 billion or so that goes there, about 80 billion of it ends up disappearing from everything that I'm being told from people over there. So 80 billion out of 100 disappearing. And so it's going to these families, right? And so 20 billion maybe goes to the war effort or whatever you want to call it. Right. None of this stuff is sustainable. None of this stuff is good. None of this helps America. This is not things that we should be doing. And these are things that the American people need to be calling out. We just can't let these types of things happen and expect to keep the America that we know and love. It's not going to happen. We're going to end up losing our currency. We're going to end up losing our country if this continues. It's not it's just a matter of when, as long as we continue down this road. And so a lot of people have put hopes in, like one person saving the day. And, other than God, that's going to happen. It's up to all of us to just say enough. And, my good buddy, Bobby Piton, says that we outnumber them, 60,000 to 1 here in the United States alone, if just 10% of us said enough. Those are some pretty staggering numbers when you think about it. So the problem is most people just sit on the fence and they're just like, oh, that doesn't affect me. Oh, that doesn't affect me. It's like, well, how much you paying for fuel? How much you paying for rent? How much you paying for energy, for milk, all this stuff. Again, it all goes back to controlling the currency, because if you control the currency, then you have to work more. You need 1 job, 2 jobs, 10 jobs. Who knows? You can't afford, eating out. You can't afford a car. You can't afford a house. You end up becoming a slave to the system. And that's what all this is about. And people they need to stop thinking of this as conspiracy theory and just start looking into it for themselves. And they'll be like, holy crap, I had no idea what they did back in 1913 and how everything since then has turned to crap. And, as far as home ownership and everything else, the stretching the dollar, it's like, how did something go from $3,500 to $350,000? It's like, that doesn't make any sense. Well, that's because they don't understand the basics of even the financial systems. As Henry Ford told us in 1903, if people understood how banking and the financial systems work, there would be a revolution before morning. People just don't know this stuff because they're not being taught this in schools. Mm-hmm. So we sound crazy when we just simply speak the truth, but this is what's happening.
Yeah, I can't believe how many people still think that the dollar is backed by gold. Just in everyday kind of communication and stuff. It's been really wild hearing, those kind of conversations change. So we had, well, what can people do? I know they can go to Operation. What's the most, the first like point of action at Operation Sunlight?
So for Operation Sunlight, it's people that, all around the country that want to get involved in their own backyards. And so they can just go and, sign up, and they'll start getting emails, and they can start reaching out to other people in their areas. They can go to precinctstrategy.com. And precinctstrategy.com has a link in the upper right where they can join up with other, like-minded constitutionalists to help take back peacefully our republic. So that's at precinctstrategy.com. There's also on that website there's a ton of information about what a precinct committeeman actually is, what a central committee is, what that means, regardless of whether you're a Republican or a Democrat. Just getting involved at a local level in politics, because, like Plato told us, get involved in politics or be ruled by evil men. And that's what we keep saying. So people need to get involved, and they have this all across America. They have, central committees, they have, politics, but most people, again, they just sit on the fence and they say, it doesn't matter. It doesn't affect me. And it all does. Just becoming a precinct committeeman, joining a central committee gives you rights above just the average person. It helps you to pick who you want to represent you. It allows you to pick who's going to be the RNC chair, the GOP chair, the DNC chair, the head of the DNC, all these different types of things it allows you to do that the average person cannot. Helps you work with legislatures and with bills and all those types of things that most people are clueless to. So that is something that's huge. Is it's part of the education process, getting involved in politics, because if we're able to take back our backyards, we're able to take it all back. And the only way that we're going to save this country is if we save ourselves. So we have to really, join arms with people of like minds, peacefully, educate ourselves and say enough and call out these so-called servants of ours for what they are and what they're doing, and hold them accountable peacefully, of course.
We did a whole talk on World Blockchain Roundtable with a guy. He goes by I Am for I Am, and he's an agorist, he says, and he came up with a white paper about the umbrella policy. He called it the umbrella policy, and he said it's something in the works, but it's basically to divert funds of lobbyists away from the representative and funnel it to the community, and by using DAOs for so that the representative would have to vote or take action by the DAO's will, what the DAO decides. What are your thoughts on something like that?
I don't know. The Constitution tells us we're to have a Republican form of government. I don't know how making some kind of decentralized organization is going to be structured that way. I mean, I'm not, without knowing the particulars, I can't really say. But what I can tell you is that the idea that these servants of ours who think that there are kings, do you really think they're going to give away the power of the purse to we the people?
No.
Of course. So I think, it's just like when they say, convention of the states. I'm like, that's lunacy, folks. I think that's insane. You have people talking about this all over the place. I'm like, guys, that doesn't make any sense. They're like, they're just going to go up there and they're going to, put term limits in. I'm like, you don't understand. They're going to open Pandora's box. And you don't understand that these are the very same people that are in the District of Criminals right now representing us. Those are the same people that are going to be making the changes to the Constitution. They're like, no, it's not. I'm like, read it closely. They assign proxies. Those are their people. Those are their people making those changes. Do you really think out of the blue, they're now going to start working for us? That's why I said it all boils down to education, because people think, Convention of the States, it's a great idea. We're going to go in there, we're going to change the Constitution. I'm like, no, it'd be great is if they just follow the Constitution. Let's do that instead. But anyways, so with this DAO, I don't see it. I don't see any way that it's gonna work, because you need the same people that are in charge to basically relinquish power to the purse. Good luck with that.
It's all about that power. Yeah. The other thing that we had talked about in the past was as far as people, I'm probably gonna have to delete this video anyway, but people choosing in elections, people being able to vote their choice. And I was so excited when I found out about cryptocurrency and different ways to use things like DigiID or different, wallets, whatever, and then using blockchain as voting method. And I thought, oh, this is going to save the world. This is going to save everything. And you pretty quickly shut that down for me and told me that we needed to use paper. And can you explain why that is and why that's so important?
Yeah, people don't understand the basics of how a voting machine actually even works today, right? So you have hardware, which is the machine, and then you have software within it that's actually doing the election process. People don't understand how to read those lines of code. Additionally, we're not given access to those lines of code. So I build software. I build things for, things like the government. I built tracking and Bluetooth tracking and all kinds of different things for the government. We can make it do whatever the hell we want. If you want to push a button and you want it to say it's going to go to Lisa, but on the back end, I flip it and it goes to Sam, nobody's going to know except whoever has access to that code. Not even the people working the elections, because they don't read the code either. So they don't understand basic software. And now you want to introduce blockchain. And there's always one point of weakness. Somebody has to create it. So you have to trust whoever created the blockchain or whoever created this election system, that number one, they didn't just make a mistake, like we saw with Bitcoin in 2017, where there was an inflation bug and we could add 21 trillion Bitcoin instead of 21 million. A Bitcoin Cash programmer found it. And so they fixed it. But again, that wasn't on purpose. It was accidental, but it happened and it could have been exploited. Then you have people that, of course, may be nefarious and maybe want to be able to change people's votes for money. Or maybe they just have access to the software and somebody puts a gun to one of their loved ones' heads and they have to go in and do something and change something. So now you're putting all this trust into one person or maybe a small group of people that nobody has access to the code. Nobody's able to read it, versus just showing voter ID, all right? Voting in your actual district or your precinct, those paper ballots are actually counted, tabulated, and reported at that local level to the register of voters, and then the register reports it to the world. That's decentralized. It's the way we did things forever. And then when you start introducing voting machines or blockchain or any of this kind of crap, you'll notice from the early 2000s to now, everything's gone to crap. Everything's gone to crap. If you look at all the places that were Republican strongholds, now they're blue, right? Makes no sense, especially when you actually go there and you interview and you talk to the residents that live there. But then you'll find out that maybe somebody at the voting machine company actually went to work for the county. Next thing you know, it's a blue county. It's like, how does that happen? Well, look who works there now. You can see this in Texas. You can see places in Texas clear as day that were red. Somebody comes from a voting machine company. They go to work there. Now it's all blue. Stalin told us it matters not who you vote for, it matters who counts the votes. And with these voting machines, with blockchain, with any of this stuff, you have no way to verify anything. You have to trust, you can't verify. Now, we were able to find the algorithm that flips all the votes in Nevada, in the two largest counties. So if you tell me 3 precincts data in Washoe or Clark County, just tell me the votes in 3 precincts, just 3 precincts, in either Washoe or Clark, and I'll tell you the results within 0.5% or so to the other 1,283. We found the algorithm. Then we found the guy that actually created it. And then he confirmed everything. Then I put rewards out. And guess what? Everybody that's tried to prove us wrong, they all say, holy crap, he's right. Again, if that was on the blockchain, who's going to know, right? We're actually finding this through the actual reported data, right? So if you don't have access to the code, how can you trust it? If you don't have access, total transparency to the entire system, how can you trust it? You see what they've done with their dollars. Imagine what they do with their votes.
So even if it was on open source software of a blockchain, because there's a lot of people that are big into open source. That's the, decentralized and open source. That would be the truth.
Can they read 21,000 lines of C++ code? Find every little bug, every little error. It's open.
Yeah.
That's great. That's great. It's open source.
It's like reading those big bills that they pass through Congress, in 24 hours, I guess. Kind of that same mindset, maybe.
We're just going to have to pass it to see what it says.
It's Crazy.
Yep.
Crazy
Yep.
stuff. Well, I appreciate you, and I love all of the freedom fighting that you do, and keeping in with the fam and staying up with everybody. I'm going to definitely work to get my pill account working again now that I know it's just that my key is expired, because it was really cool. I could go over there and I can, during the show, you can watch and you can like tip people live
Yeah.
during the show. It's really cool.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. It's a Foxhole and Pilled, same back end for the most part. So in
yeah.
the same key streams to both. It's like an API handshake where you're just literally saying, hey, this is, StreamYard, this is Pilled. As long as everything's cool, then it all streams. If one of those things don't work, then it won't stream.
Okay. Well, I just need to reset mine or whatever, fix it. Because that'd be a great place for our community as well. And that does have a live chat option. So we could definitely have everybody chatting over there. So, well, I appreciate you. Thanks so much. Anything else that we can leave the people with? Some words of wisdom or information?
Yeah. It's up to God and us. Yeah.
All right. Well, you guys have some tools in your tool belt. Then go to Operation Sunlight, check it out, become a precinct member or get involved with your precinct, and definitely download a Monarch wallet and keep praying for our country for sure. So thanks again, Beatles.
Right. Love you all. God bless.